Welcome back, everyone, to our Yoga Sutras Pada 1 class. Last week, we focused on Sutras 1 through 4 in Chapter 1. And the purpose of this class is to discuss the meaning of the sutras, the words used in the sutras, but also to chant along with the sutras so that you get the vibration, the energy of the sutra within. You're able to internalize it. And just as last week, we had Danelle Mason, Kriya Yoga teacher from New Zealand with us. She's back again, and she'll be with us for the whole class. So thanks for being here again, Danelle. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, Ryan. Good morning.
Yeah. And we're going to begin today with Sutra 1.5. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, 1.5.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, go ahead and lead us in the chant.
Sutra 1.5. Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Vrittayaha Panchatayaha kliṣṭa 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 Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Vrittayaha Panchatayaha kliṣṭa 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 Vrittaya Panchatayaha kliṣṭa kliṣṭa Vrittaya Panchatayaha kliṣṭa kliṣṭa Vrittaya Panchatayaha kliṣṭa kliṣṭa.
Thank you. And we will also share a document. We shared this in the last class, and one of the comments on the video was that it was kind of grainy in the video. So bear with us. I'm going to try to make this document available, maybe through Patreon, but I'll update you on that as we go. So Sutra 1.5, Patañjali is talking about the vṛttis, the mental modifications, which were referred to in the previous sutras. And when we look at the word for word breakdown, we can see here the word vrittayaha. The meaning is that these are the modifications and the fluctuations. So it's the plural form of vritti, mental patterns. And remember that the vṛttis are the activities in chitta or of chitta. And chitta is the field of our being, the field of our consciousness, that which the seer, our soul, perceives. So physical things, emotional things, mental things, and so on. Panchataya means of 5 kinds. Pancha means 5. Taya, of types or varieties. So Patañjali is describing that these mental fluctuations, these vṛttis, they are of 5 kinds. And then kliṣṭa, akliṣṭa. Kliṣṭa means afflicted or colored by ignorance. We see the root here, kliṣ, to cause pain or distress, and it's tied to the kleshas, the mental afflictions that Kriya Yoga and the yoga of Patañjali is aiming to overcome, to dissolve, to reconcile. And then the last word, akliṣṭa. When you have the prefix a in front of a word, that negates the word. So we have kliṣṭa, afflicted, and akliṣṭa, not afflicted, uncolored, neutral. And so as we see when we go through these next sutras, what Patañjali is describing are what the vṛttis are, and whether they are afflicted or not afflicted. So let's scroll down to the next one. Okay. And I'll turn it back over to Danelle once I stop sharing. There we go. To chant the next sutra.
So 1.6, we're naming here the 5 vṛttis. Pramāṇa, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Nidrā, Smṛtayah, Smṛtayah, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Smṛtayah, Smṛtayah, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Smṛtayah, Nidrā, Smṛtayah, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Smṛtayah, Pramāṇa, Viparyaya, Vikalpa, Nidrā, Smṛtayah.
Okay, thank you. So looking again at this sutra, 1.6. Pramāṇa. This word means valid cognition or correct knowledge. And this is reliable knowledge, knowledge that you can trust. Viparyaya is misperception, wrong understanding. It's confusion, taking something to be other than what it is. Vikalpa, conceptualization without a real object. So this is a mental construct. It's like if I told you that there's a rabbit that has horns. Well, it's not a real thing, but you've seen horns and you've seen a rabbit, so you can pull that up. It's a concept without a real object. Nidrā, sleep, a state where mental content is absent. It's also the tendency towards going to non-wakefulness. So when you want to escape from something in sleep or in a stupor or in a trance, Nidrā plays a role here. And then Smṛtayah. This is the retention of past memory. So it's memory. And as we'll see in Sutra 1.1, memory is simply the non-escaping of an experience. I always like the way that was described. The non-escaping of an experience. And so the literal translation, that these modifications, these vṛttis, are valid cognition, misperception, conceptualization, sleep, and memory. Okay, Danelle, next sutra.
Sutra 1.7. It might be worth noting that when there's two words that end in the A, so we've got the one that ends here, pratyaksha, and then the next one, anumana. So if it ends in an A and starts in an A, it becomes a long A. Yeah, okay. Pratyaksha, pratyaksha, anumana, anumana, agama, agama, pramāṇani, pramāṇani, pratyakshanumana gama, pratyakshanumana gama, pramāṇani, pramāṇani, pratyakshanumana gama, pramāṇani, pramāṇani, pratyakshanumana gama, pramāṇani, pratyakshanumana gama, pramāṇani.
Okay, Sutra 1.7. This is going to describe the first type of vṛtti, the first type of fluctuation. And we look at the word breakdown here. Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha. It means direct perception. Direct perception. Prati, before, in front of aksha, the sense organ, the ability to perceive. And so this is knowledge gained directly through the senses or immediate experience. When you see the light turned on in your room, you're having a direct perception of this light. When you feel something, you're having a direct perception of it. When you experience something. Anumana, inference, inference. And this is logical deduction. For example, if there's smoke, usually means there's fire somewhere. Agama, testimony or authoritative teaching. And this is reliable testimony from a trustworthy source. And so that is your guru, that is your teacher, that is someone who understands and knows the scripture or knows the process of yoga. You've seen that they understand it. You've seen how they live their life. And so you can trust what they say. You can follow what they did to have the same experience. But it's also scriptural, such as the Yoga Sutras and the Bhagavad Gita and other texts. And then Pramāṇani, means of valid knowledge. And so this is referring to any knowledge which can lead you to a correct assessment of that which you're looking at. And when we consider, let's see, let me back up. Yeah, we consider Vyāsa's commentary. Pratyaksha is gained, knowledge gained through the direct contact of the sense organs with their objects, uncolored by error or distortion. That's important. Oftentimes you'll read in these yogic texts someone who has, I think it's called diplopia or diplopia, I'm not sure which one it is, but it's where you see two of things. So you look at the moon and you see two moons. Well, you're seeing it, but there's not actually two moons there because it's your eyes which are causing the issue. So this is uncolored by error or distortion. Anumana, it's knowledge gained by reasoning from a known fact. And agama, knowledge received from words of one who is trustworthy, again, such as a guru or a scripture. And it's especially related to matters beyond sensory perception. For example, I believe in the last class I talked about chitta. And chitta is a word that you can read about. You can say it's the mind, you can say it's the field of consciousness. And that's an idea that you have. But you can actually directly experience chitta. And that's the whole point of the Yoga Sutras. And so if someone I know has directly experienced it, but I haven't, it's up to this point been beyond my sensory perception. But if I know that they are trustworthy and they know what they're talking about, I can contemplate that, I can follow that until I have my own direct perception. Okay, we'll move on to the next sutra.
Sutra 1.8. Viparyayo, Viparyayo, Mithya Jnanam, Mithya Jnanam, Viparyayo, Mithya Jnanam, Viparyayo, Mithya Jnanam, Atad Rupa Pratishtam, Atad Rupa Pratishtam, Viparyayo Mithya Jnanam, Atad Rupa Pratishtam, Viparyayo Mithya Jnanam, Atad Rupa Pratishtam, Viparyayo Mithya Jnanam, Atad Rupa Pratishtam.
All right. Sutra 1.8, this is the second type of vṛtti, Viparyaya, misperception or wrong knowledge. Viparyaya, misperception or wrong knowledge. Viparyaya is essentially taking something to be other than what it truly is. Taking something to be other than what it truly is. Another classic example is you're walking along at night and you see a coiled up rope and you think it's a snake. So it's not actually a snake, you're misperceiving it. Or sometimes when I'm out in the woods, if I see a big stump or a big boulder, I think, oh, is that a bear? And it's not. So I look at it and I realize it's not. But for a moment, I have that experience of misperception. Mithya, false or erroneous. So jnana, and whenever we see these letters together, this J and this N with a little squiggly line over top, we want to pronounce that gya, so it's jnana. Mithya is related to false knowledge, incorrect knowledge. Relates to jnanam, knowledge. And then atad, not that. The prefix a, once again, negates tad, that. Rupa is form or nature. So this word refers to the true form or nature of an object. And then pratishtam, resting upon, based in the foundation or support of something. And so when we put these words together, the literal rendering is that misperception is false knowledge, not based on the object's true form. And so this is one way, another way that our chitta is colored, or it's another fluctuation of a vṛtti within chitta, within the field of our being. And again, Vyāsa, he explains that Viparyaya occurs when the mind superimposes qualities that are not present. Again, like seeing a rope and thinking it's a snake. And this can occur from faulty senses, confused memory, or misinterpretation. And it's one of the roots of ignorance. Unlike Vikalpa, which is imagination without any real object, Viparyaya has an actual object but is perceived incorrectly. And this can apply to all kinds of things. It can even apply to relationships where you know someone and maybe you're invested in seeing them a certain way. And so you overlook certain aspects of their personality, you overlook certain things that they do. This is a kind of mistaken or false knowledge that we have to be aware of that's possible as a human being. All right. Next sutra.
Sutra 1.9. Shabda, Shabda, Jnananupati, Jnananupati, Shabda, Jnananupati, Shabda, Jnananupati, Vastu Shunyo, Vastu Shunyo, Vikalpa, Vikalpa, Shabda Jnananupati, Vastu Shunyo, Vikalpa, Shabda Jnananupati, Vastu Shunyo, Vikalpa, Shabda Jnananupati, Vastu Shunyo, Vikalpa.
Sutra 1.9, the third type of vṛtti, Vikalpa. Conceptualization or imagination without a corresponding reality. I always like this sutra. For some reason, I always like the word shabda and shunya. So I liked repeating this one for some reason. But shabda, word, verbal expression, it is the sound which carries a meaning. A sound which carries a meaning, a vibration which carries a meaning. Jnana, we know that this is knowledge, cognition. Anupati, following after, it's dependent upon. Vastu, an object, an actual thing, a real entity. Some of you might be familiar with the idea of the science of Vastu, where you arrange your environment to certain patterns so that it brings positive energy into your experience. So vastu is an object, a real entity, a thing. Shunya, empty, void, lacking substance or an actual referent. And then Vikalpa, conceptualization, imagination, a mental construct without an external object. And so we put these words together, we get the literal rendering that conceptualization, or Vikalpa, is knowledge that follows from words empty of an actual object. So it's knowledge that follows from words that are empty of an actual object. If I tell you a rabbit with horns, well, those are words, but there's not an actual object that is referring to, a real thing. It's not a real entity. So we have to be careful of this. Next sutra.
Sutra 110. Abhava, abhava, pratyaya lambana, pratyaya lambana, vṛttir nidrā, vṛttir nidrā, abhava, pratyaya lambana, abhava, pratyaya lambana, vṛttir nidrā, vṛttir nidrā, abhava, pratyaya lambana, vṛttir nidrā, abhava, pratyaya lambana, vṛttir nidrā, abhava, pratyaya lambana, vṛttir nidrā.
Sutra 110. Nidrā refers to sleep as a vṛtti. And the reason sleep is a vṛtti is because it's still a mode of the mind, a mode of the mind field. It's an interesting one, because we don't normally think that when we're in deep sleep that anything is going on, but something is still happening. It's just different than our normal thoughts, our normal emotions, and so on. So let's look at the word for word breakdown. Abhava, non-existence, absence. Remembering that putting a before a word negates it, and bhava means being. Those of you who study astrology or know Vedic astrology, you know that the houses in astrology are called bhavas. And those are the modes of being of a person. So here we have bhava, but this is the negation of bhava, the negation of being, the absence of waking mental content. Pratyaya. This is a very important word, pratyaya. To remember this, pratyaya, it's important. It's going to come up a lot in the Yoga Sutras. This is cognition, idea, and the contents of the mind. Cognition, ideas, and contents of the mind. So it's the mental impressions or a thought object. And then alambana, supported by or resting upon. So it indicates the object or basis of a mental state. Alambana is an important word. So for example, whenever you focus on the breath is acting like an alambana, a support for your meditation practice. So there's all kinds of these. Vritti, again, a modification of fluctuation. And then Nidrā, sleep. And this is dreamless or deep sleep. So it's not the sleep where you are dreaming or cognizing things or drifting off into a trance or zoning out. This is that state of deep sleep, deep stillness, a sense of deep stillness. And the literal rendering is that sleep is the modification of the mind supported by the cognition of absence. So it's fascinating because when you are in this modification of the mind, what is modifying the mind is that you are cognizant of nothing being there. Just like when you sleep well, you know you slept well because you weren't disturbed. nothing was going on. So there is something, some other part of you is aware of this absence. And Vyāsa's commentary, again, specifying dreamless deep sleep, sushupti. Dream sleep involves other vṛttis like imagination. You can be in a dream and you can actually see a rabbit with horns. So that's not what we're talking about here. In deep sleep, the mind is not annihilated. It is in a mode where the only object of cognition is the absence of other objects. Now, Nidrā can be kliṣṭa or akliṣṭa, as we'll see, because you can go to sleep to escape from yourself or to escape from problems. You can also sleep just because your body needs it. And as a yogi, we're doing a lot of internal work. Pranayama is energetically affecting us. Our mantras are energetically affecting us. Our yoga, our asana is energetically affecting us, physically affecting us. So if we're going to sleep simply to restore the body, well, that is not a problematic vṛtti. That is a supportive vṛtti. Okay. I think we've got one more left. Too far. Let me turn it back over to Danelle here.
Anubhuta, anubhuta, vishaya, vishaya, anubhuta vishaya, anubhuta vishaya, asampramosha, asampramosha, smṛti, smṛti, anubhuta vishaya sampramosha, anubhuta vishaya sampramosha, smṛti, smṛti, anubhuta vishaya sampramosha, smṛti, anubhuta vishaya sampramosha, smṛti, anubhuta vishaya sampramosha, smṛti.
Thank you. Anubhuta Vishaya Sampramosha Smṛti, Yoga Sutra 1.11. And here we're learning about the fifth and final type of vṛtti, which is Smṛti, or memory. Looking at each word. Anubhuta, anubhuta, experienced. We have anu, after, and bhuta, become. So something directly encountered in the past. Vishaya, which is an object, the object of perception. Asampramosha, not letting go or retention. So sam is completely, pramosha is loss. So if we have sampramosha, it's complete loss. But we put an A in front of it. There's not a complete loss. There's not a slipping away. So our memories are those experiences that we have that don't just slip on by. The things you don't remember, they still happen, but you don't retain them. You don't hold on to them. So asampramosha is not letting go. And then smṛti is memory, the mental retention or recollection of experienced objects. And so, again, memory, this vṛtti of memory, this is a non-escaping of an experience. It seems like a simple definition, but when I heard it defined in that way, it really stuck with me. A non-escaping of an experience. And we see this in our meditations where we start to meditate and all these memories come back in. So there's still a residue there. They haven't slipped away completely. We haven't been able to let them go completely. Now this can be a kliṣṭa or akliṣṭa. It can be supportive or it can be unsupportive. It's unsupportive when those memories just keep rolling over you and you can't let them slide away so that you can meditate more deeply. But you can remember things which can be helpful. For example, if you've been in the presence of a highly realized person, that feeling, you can remember that and that can help you meditate better. If you've had an experience, a glimpse of stillness or light or inner peacefulness or clarity, you can recall that and you can pull that memory up, and that can help to promote your ability to meditate more deeply. So all of these vṛttis, they have, they have a twofold nature. Let's move on down here to, I think we've got Sutra 1.12. Did we want to go all the way to 1.12, Danelle? Would that be good? Or should we pause there?
It's not a bad place to stop, being the sort of 5 vṛttis together. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so we'll stop there, and then next week or next time we get together, we'll pick up with Sutra 1.12, where we see the means of restraining these vṛttis. But before we do that, how about we meditate together for just a few moments? Okay. Oh, actually, why don't we do what we did last time? Let me stop sharing. So last time, and we'll try to make this a pattern, last time you took us through all of the sutras a few times. So you chant through all of them. Could you do that for us?
Yep, sure. Okay, so we'll start at 1.5.
Yeah.
Vrittaya panchataya kliṣṭa kliṣṭa. Vrittaya panchataya kliṣṭa kliṣṭa. Pramāṇa Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidrā Smṛtaya. Pramāṇa Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidrā Smṛtaya. Pratyakshanumānāgama Pramāṇāni. Pratyakshanumānāgama Pramāṇāni. Viparyayo mitya jnanam atadrupa pratistham. Viparyayo mitya jnanam atadrupa pratistham. Shabda jnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpa. Shabda jnananupati vastu shunyo vikalpa. Abhava pratyaya lambana vṛttir nidrā. Abhava pratyaya lambana vṛttir nidrā. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smriti. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smriti.
Okay, thank you. So let's meditate together. Sitting up straight and closing the eyes. Just focus on the breath. And maybe you have the faint memory of the chant of the sutras moving through your mind and your body. And that would be a positive form of memory, the feeling, the sensation of the vibration of the sutra. And as you feel the body, flow your attention to the soles of the feet, feeling the temperature, the pressure, the sensations in the soles of the feet. And bringing your awareness to the palms of your hands, deeply into the body, feeling the energy within the palms of the hands. Flowing the awareness up the arms and up the legs into the torso, into the belly and the back, and feeling the breath as it moves through the body, slowly, smoothly on each inhalation and exhalation. And resting awareness on the breath, letting the breath be a little deeper than normal, but letting it flow smoothly. The emphasis is on smoothing out the inhalation and the exhalation, consciously breathing. As you feel this smoothness, you're also sensing the movement of the chest and the back and the belly as the whole body breathes, as your whole being, your whole bhava breathes. And before we conclude this short meditation, I'm going to ask Danelle, if you wouldn't mind, to chant those sutras again 3 times each. And as she is chanting these sutras, you don't have to think too much about what they mean, but feel as though your whole body is sensing the vibration of the sutra, as if you're not just listening with your ears, but with your whole body and your whole being. And if you know the sutra, or you can follow along, and try to chant with Danelle, feeling the vibration within you. But the aim is more to listen and let the power, the resonation of the sutra flood your awareness. And so Danelle, if you wouldn't mind chanting each of those 3 times for us.
Vrittaya panchataya kliṣṭa kliṣṭa vṛttaya panchataya kliṣṭa kliṣṭa vṛttaya panchataya kliṣṭa kliṣṭa Pramāṇa Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidrā Smṛtaya Pramāṇa Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidrā Smṛtaya Pramāṇa Viparyaya Vikalpa Nidrā Smṛtaya Pratyakshanumānāgama Pramāṇāni Pratyakshanumānāgama Pramāṇāni Pratyakshanumānāgama Pramāṇāni Viparyayo mityajnanam atadrupa pratishtam Viparyayo mityajnanam atadrupa pratishtam Viparyayo mityajnanam atadrupa pratishtam Shabda jnana nupati vastu shunyo vikalpa Shabda jnana nupati vastu shunyo vikalpa Shabda jnana nupati vastu shunyo vikalpa Abhava pratyaya lambana vṛttir nidrā. Abhava pratyaya lambana vṛttir nidrā. Abhava pratyaya lambana vṛttir nidrā. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smriti. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smriti. Anubhuta vishaya sampramosha smriti.
And let's take a moment to honor and give thanks and reverence to those teachers that have made it possible for us to be here. Within this Kriya Yoga tradition, Roy Eugene Davis, a student of Paramahansa Yogananda. Also, Vyāsa Houston, the director of the American Sanskrit Institute. His wonderful courses on Sanskrit has been an extreme help to myself and to Danelle. And also the sage Patañjali, the ancient guru who codified the practices of yoga. And as we think of these people with reverence and appreciation, it makes it easier for us to understand their minds, their experiences, their states of being. And we'll chant Om 3 times together to conclude this practice. Peace. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Danelle, for your assistance this evening. This is a free class, and it's supported by our Kriya Yoga Online Patreon members. So if you have any interest in supporting this course or exploring the offerings through the Kriya Yoga Online Patreon community, you can visit patreon.com/Kriya Yoga. Also, I'd like to encourage you to visit Vyāsa Houston's website, the American Sanskrit Institute. On that site, you can find a CD download, or a download, but also on CD, him chanting all of the sutras, one after the other. And so you'll notice that the cadence and the way that we are chanting the sutras matches that. It can be very wonderful to listen to. Otherwise, I'd encourage you throughout the next week or two to re-listen to this particular class and listen to the first class. That'll help to get the sutras in your mind, and the repetition will help you understand more deeply what Patañjali is trying to say. And as we progress through chapter 1, it'll give you a good foundation in the whole process of chanting and, again, internalizing the meaning of these sutras. So thanks again, Danelle, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see everyone next time.